The views, opinions, positions, or strategies expressed on WLAF TV 12 do not necessarily reflect those of the staff, management, ownership, or advertisers of WLAF TV 12, 1450 WLAF Radio, FM 100.9, or 1450WLAF.com.
Stop by Heights Finance Corporation today and see Sandy List for all your financial needs. We're located in the Carl Pierce Furniture Building at 220 East Central Avenue in Eufaula, Tennessee. We offer loans from $500 to $100,000. Former bankruptcies are welcome, so give them a call. Call 563-6797. That's 563-6797. Or stop by their office 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Mule Pro FXT can't handle. The 2015 Mule Pro FXT. The Mule Pro FXT is engineered to smooth out the most rugged terrain. Over 8.5 inches of suspension travel make uneven surfaces feel a lot less jarring, while a tight 16-foot turning radius combined with electric power steering means easy and effortless cornering on a dime. Engine braking is tuned for a controlled feel when heading downhill, and high-output LED headlights light up the way. Round out this exceptional package with the maximum stopping power of front and rear disc brakes, and there's almost nothing the Mule Pro FXT can't handle. The 2015 Mule Pro FXT.
Hi, I'm Ann Love with Linda Kilgore State Farm Agency. I have worked in the insurance and financial services industry for over 20 years, formerly with the John R.W. Brown Agency. I'm a native Campbell County and enjoy helping people with their insurance needs. Stop by and see me for all your insurance needs.
Riggs Drugs has been a part of Campbell County for generation after generation, serving our friends and neighbors. And now we have redesigned our store to better serve you. It's the same knowledgeable and friendly staff, but a new look and new technology to ensure you get your prescriptions fast. We've always got you covered from prescriptions to all your home health needs. We've always been more than a pharmacy, still offering a huge selection of gifts and decor. Here at the new and improved Riggs Drugs.
Are you missing out on extra Medicare benefits that you may be entitled to? Hi, my name is Blake McCoy with Independent Insurance Consultants. If you have Medicare A and B and have Medicaid, TennCare, Q&B, or receive extra help on your prescription, drug premium, and copays, I want to make sure that you are receiving all the extra benefits that you are entitled to. Call me toll-free today, 1-866-691-5571, and let me help you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome again to Campbell County Issues. I hope I get some new callers tonight. I got my numbers back up there. It never just dawned on me that I needed to put my numbers back up there. I guess I'm getting old. And I hope after tonight I'll be able to hear you all much better. I finally get my new hearing aids. They fitted me a month ago and had to order them, so and my old ones have calked out on me. And them things only cost about $8,000 a set, so poor man like me can't afford too many of those. So anyway, tonight I think I've got an interesting show lined up for you, but I really liked last week's show. we didn't have anything planned as far as new issues unless we had to bring something up to get people talking. But tonight, I want to start out, and I hope that I can get Ann Hester to call in. If you read her column this week, it's a very interesting column. A very, very interesting column. And if she'll call in, and if she's got a copy of her column, I don't know whether she saves them or what she does, or he. Sometimes people don't know if it's a he or a she, but she's called my show a few times here, and we know it's a she. Awful good at disguising the voice. But it's really, really an interesting column. She's even mentions that in one of the Bibles, which the Bible has been written, she says, I think 18 times, or was it just 4 times? And many of the books were left out, high as 50 to 60 books left out, or 20 to 50 books, I guess it is. And that women that wore men's clothing, meaning pants and shirts, I guess, was an abomination. I mean, she had to do a lot of research on this, and she mentions the Pledge of Allegiance, and it just shows a whole lot of difference of how things are today than they were even back in the 1800s. I believe she's even mentioned somewhere some of this stuff about even older than that. But pledge allegiance to the flag. See, until and she's got it in here, but I wasn't sure when it actually took place. It was probably in the 60s or 50s or 60s that under God, one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all. Before that was under God was put in there, and it's just a whole lot of information. I wish she would call in and just take us down one step at a time, so I don't get it all mixed up. But then Hazel Valley, I got to take him to task tonight. I mean, he has sent me some emails that I don't know, unless I'm reading them wrong. He's saying that people that's Democrats are so dumb, and then you get up to the Republicans, they are somewhat better, then get to another group and they are even better, but none of them knows what they're doing. And I took it that he was saying that we would be better off under communism. Greatest country on the face of this earth. Hazel Valley, where are you coming from? Right now you got me all confused. I still believe that this is the greatest country on earth. I believe that Hillary Clinton will be our next president. And I know a lot of people out there absolutely don't think that will ever happen. But I really believe it will happen. And I'll tell you why I believe it will happen, even stronger than I've ever. I don't think that there's anyone out there in the Democrat Party can surprise her this time. I really don't. And when you're going to have 10 to 12 people running in the Republican Party, and they're going to beat each other up so bad, and whoever gets the nomination is they're going to be bloody. You can bet on it. It's going to be tough. And last night, I was surprised about some of the calls about Hillary Clinton. You're on the air.
Hey, big guy.
Yeah, you got me totally confused.
Yeah, I think you misread that article.
I must have.
What that was I think, wasn't that put out on April 1st?
It was probably April the 1st, I guess. But it might have been April the 3rd. I'll have to look at it. I still got it.
Well, I think I got it on April 1st. I might have taken a day or two to send it out. What that was this article about all these IQs. You know, the various
Yeah, I see. What did you say?
intelligent quotients of different people of different political persuasions.
Well, let me ask you this: Did you
And Democrats scored the lowest.
did you see that out of the top 10 presidents, 4 of those top 10 were Democrats, and they wasn't even a Democrat party. Back it was Whigs and Republicans and whatever in the beginning, and since
Now, wait a minute. Republican Party was founded in 1854, 52, 53.
but anyway,
Their first presidential candidate was John C. Fremont in 1856. Their second candidate was Abraham Lincoln, who got elected in a 4-way split.
okay, but did you see that
There were Whigs and Democrats. Andrew Jackson was a Democrat.
in the 1800s, but not in the 1700s?
Yeah, in the 1700s, you had the Whigs and those who referred to themselves as Democrats.
But anyway, the 4 of the top 10, actually 4 of the top 8, top 10 were smartest presidents we ever had was Democrats. Now John Adams and Jefferson was the first 2 that IQs were the highest. John Adams, and then Jefferson, then Kennedy, then Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton had a real high social IQ. You know what a social IQ is, don't you?
All I can do is just imagine.
It's a guy who really knows how to pick up women.
Okay.
Yeah, that thing I sent you was various IQs of different people of different political persuasions.
Okay.
Rhinos, Republicans name only, like that poor Lindsey Graham and John McCain. Their IQs are down around 68, 69. Democrats average about 87. Then conservatives are supposed to be the highest. And I don't know why this guy, he said communists scored higher than anybody on the IQ test.
Well, I believe you added to it a little bit. Maybe that we would.
I added to it. I threw some stuff in there. It was sent out on April 1st, and I took it for what it was, an April Fool's joke.
Okay.
So yeah, you gotta take my emails with a grain of salt there, my friend.
I know, because if I was to turn them into the government, they would come and lock you up.
Well, I don't, the government shouldn't be involved in people's humor. We're gonna have a little fun out here. Government though, they don't have a sense of humor. They
No, they don't.
take everything serious. But I don't know why that guy, but he said that independents score higher than Democrats or Republicans, and I've noticed that highly intelligent people are pretty much independent, but I personally don't know any concepts.
Okay.
So when they say they have the highest IQ, that must have been tongue in cheek or something.
Okay. But you have me worried.
Oh no, don't you worry about me. We're getting too old taking this stuff serious anyway.
Okay. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, well thank you for taking my call, and everybody doing okay back home on the Fairview Mountain?
I hope. We're too soon to say, really.
Okay, baby.
Talk to you later.
Here, bye.
You're on the air.
Yeah, Ariel, I'm like you about it. I think Hillary Clinton could be president. I think she'd make a good one myself, and I don't think there's anybody on the Republican side that could really beat her. Myself, and I'd like to see even Bill be the vice president myself.
That wouldn't make me mad, I'll tell you that. Because I'll tell you, under Bill Clinton from 92 to 80, times were good.
Yeah, he was the best president that's ever been in there, I think. He had everything going good, and the economy was doing fine. And
if his wife don't care for him running around and the women want to chase him, so what?
Yeah. I think she could be a good president myself. And
I do too. I really do. I think she would make a dandy. And a lady called me last night and said, "Why in the world would you want to vote for a woman?" I said, "Well, I think that probably one of the best prime minister ever was Margaret Thatcher for England, Great Britain. Right. She was hard. She knew what she was doing. She did a good job. Right now, Germany is doing great. A woman's running the country. Argentina had a woman president. Now, I don't know how well she's done so far. I mean, she might have run away with another man. I don't know, but
yeah.
But hey, they're less likely to take us to war.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, at Hillary Clinton, if push come to shove and she had to face Putin right in the face, she's not going to run.
No, she would be a good one, I think.
Yeah.
She got a lot of experience, and that Benghazi thing would be the only thing they would probably try to get a scandal going with her on, but there's nothing, she didn't have anything to do with that.
No. If she could have gotten there, there wasn't nothing, they've proven there was nothing could be done. It was too far away. But they want to push this thing about four people got killed.
Yeah.
How many people did George Bush go into Iraq for the wrong reason? How many people did he kill, or did our army kill? Hundreds of thousands, not. And we lost what, 4,000 men and women, and they want to take four people. And they couldn't have done nothing anyway. They were outnumbered so bad it just flared up or something other happened, and they weren't ready. I appreciate you. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. But thanks a lot for letting me call. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
You're on the air.
Hi, Ariel.
Hi.
I'm calling about the Pledge of Allegiance. There is a skit or a sketch or whatever you want to call it that Red Skelton did about the Pledge of Allegiance.
I've never seen it.
It's beautiful, and if I'm not mistaken, John Wayne might have done it too. But it's all over YouTube. You can find it, and it's beautiful. It'll make you cry.
Well, I want to tell you this. I really believe that when we stand up in the courtrooms and everybody turn to the flag and say the Pledge of Allegiance, I'll guarantee you that 80 or 90% of those people truly do not believe what they're saying, because they are not. So many of them is so prejudiced towards other people. I'm talking about in this state. Now, and there's some states I believe that really mean it. But again, the kids stand up and they say the Pledge of Allegiance in school. But when they go home, so many of them hear so much of a prejudice in their homes that it's pitiful. And those kids are going to grow up the same way.
Yep. Now, I'm young. I'm only 28 years old, and I never knew the meaning behind all the words to the Pledge of Allegiance until my dad pulled that up on YouTube and I watched it. It's very, very, very moving, very touching.
I'll tell you another speech. It's something that's very, and I didn't understand it because whenever it was given, I definitely had some prejudice bones in my body. But until I sat and listened to Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech, and you have to sit and listen to it. He was talking about us hillbillies. He was talking about the blacks. He's talking about the women. He's talking about all God's children. And whenever he was first giving that speech, and that was in 1968, I believe. And in 68, I still had some prejudice blood, not a whole lot, because I just got out of the Army in 1966. And in the Army was the first real contact that I had ever had or dealt with black people, because I was still a young man and raised up in Scott County where there was no blacks, and I'd say 95% of everybody was prejudiced. Now, my father was not prejudiced. I don't believe my father had a prejudice bone in his body. I don't think he even had prejudice bones for any denomination or any color. I don't think he had any. He was kind of like I am now. Why? Let me get this straight before I stick my foot in my mouth. I might have already stuck my foot in my mouth. Really, unless you are a devout Christian, and that's all you think, why would anyone pick out just one issue? And I would like somebody to tell me, what does a person being gay, what have they done to you and I?
I don't know. I've tried to argue that for years and years and years, because my generation, it's a normal thing. And I believe, and this is you're going to get a bunch of calls about this tonight, but the only difference between a gay couple and a straight couple, whether it be two men or two women, is what they do behind closed doors. That's the only difference.
It's their life. And in America, we're here, want everybody to pursue happiness and whatever that makes them happy. And I know everybody wants everybody to go to heaven. Everybody, all Christians wants everybody to go to heaven. But again, what harm does anyone being gay do to you and I? What harm does anyone committing adultery, what harm does that do to me and you, as long as we're not involved? What harm?
No harm to nobody but who's involved.
That's right. And so why should we make it such an issue? Why do we hate people?
Folks have to have something to argue about.
But and it's really hate. It's not. I don't like the crime that they're looking at it as a crime or a sin against God. I hate the people that does it, and I hate that sin.
Yeah.
And there was a man 2 weeks ago called me on my show, and I mean he rattled my cage about little sins and big sins. And I don't believe in little sins and big sins.
No, sir. The Bible says, if I'm not mistaken, that no sin is greater than another. And all these people that just want to hate everybody, I believe, honestly, that we are all God's creatures.
Right.
And if we're all God's creatures, then He made us all. And everything He made is right.
Appreciate your call.
All righty.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You're on the air.
Hey,
Yeah.
back to the Pledge of Allegiance. Do you know who wrote it?
I got it right here, but I mean, I'd have to find it, and it wasn't written for Christians or sinners.
The author of the Pledge of Allegiance is a guy by the name of Francis Bellamy. Now, he was a big pro-central government, all-powerful authoritarian government. He was in favor of that.
Uh-huh.
He didn't even write an original pledge. He adapted it from the oath that Southerners had to take to get their statehood and their voting rights back. You know, the Northern Republicans defeated the South, militarily occupied them with their military. We were only permitted to re-enter the Union as states when we took this oath of allegiance. And we were only allowed to have our voting rights back after we took this oath of allegiance to the federal government.
And that's 1892 when it was first written.
And he adapted that from this oath that we had to take. Now, who is Francis Bellamy? He was a defrocked minister who lost his license to preach because he denied that Jesus was the Son of God.
Yeah, I read that someplace too.
You probably from one of my emails.
Probably.
Not sent on April 1st. But he was defrocked, and he helped start the Unitarian Church. And you know, the Unitarians are the ones that denied Jesus as the Son of God. In fact, they're not sure what God is. You know, they can't really tell you that. You can have your own idea of what God is under the Unitarian Church. In fact, there's a joke that Christians burn a cross in your yard, the Unitarians burn a question mark. Because they're, they just sure what's going on.
Yeah.
And now Francis Bellamy wrote this without under God in it.
Right.
The lady that called in was correct. I think in 1956, under Eisenhower, under God was placed in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, it says 62 years later. So 50.
Yes, many years later.
1954.
It was intended as a secular oath to centralize federal power, all authority over you.
Uh-huh.
And actually, I think people who work for the government, bureaucrats and elected officials, should be taking an oath of allegiance to the people every morning because we're the ones that pay their bills.
Okay. Appreciate your call.
They should be taking an oath to us. Hey, thank you for taking it.
Okay, buddy. See.
Bye-bye.
You're on the air.
Yes, Ariel, I don't mean to change the subject on you. Could you tell me what happened down at the animal shelter and the animal control?
When?
Well, I was told today that there wasn't no more animal shelter or animal control.
Well, now, I haven't heard anything about that, to tell you the truth. I just know they've been having a lot of problems down there, and they were accused of actually putting animals in the freezer and stuff like that that were still alive, and all kinds of questions, and animals just, I don't know, not being cared for, and so they had a lot of problems. So I guess now they've finally come to the conclusion that they no longer need it, or it's too expensive or something or other. I appreciate your call.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, got to run to break. I'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Stop by Heights Finance Corporation today and see Sandy List for all your financial needs. We're located in the Carl Pierce Furniture Building at 220 East Central Avenue in Eufaula, Tennessee. We offer loans from $500 to $100,000. Former bankruptcies are welcome, so give them a call. Call 563-6797. That's 563-6797. Or stop by their office 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Razor, Ranger, Sportsman, Ace. If you live for the outdoors, there's a Polaris to match your passion. Confident, comfortable, capable. That's Ace. With a solo cockpit, automotive controls, independent suspension, all-wheel drive, and up to 45 horses of fuel-injected power. Calling it revolutionary would be an understatement. Polaris, the world leader in off-road innovation.
Hi, I'm Cindy Christian with Linda Kilgore State Farm. I've been providing excellent customer service for State Farm customers for 4 years now. I'm licensed in auto, home, life, and health. Come in and see me for all your insurance needs.
Riggs Drugs has been a part of Campbell County for generation after generation, serving our friends and neighbors. And now we have redesigned our store to better serve you. It's the same knowledgeable and friendly staff, but a new look and new technology to ensure you get your prescriptions fast. We've always got you covered from prescriptions to all your home health needs. We've always been more than a pharmacy, still offering a huge selection of gifts and decor. Here at the new and improved Riggs Drugs.
Are you missing out on extra Medicare benefits that you may be entitled to? Hi, my name is Blake McCoy with Independent Insurance Consultants. If you have Medicare A and B and have Medicaid, TennCare, Q&B, or receive extra help on your prescription, drug premium, and copays, I want to make sure that you are receiving all the extra benefits that you are entitled to. Call me toll-free today. 1-866-691-5571 and let me help you.
Okay, we're back and you're on the air, ma'am.
Okay, are you taking prayer requests tonight or not?
Oh, ma'am, I don't do those.
Okay, thanks.
I'm not able to do that. No. But I'll tell you what I will do. If there's someone out there that wants to call in and have prayer over the phone with you, if you got now, because we don't do any singing anything here. Every once in a while we'll sing, but that's very seldom. I mean, I'd definitely let someone right over the phone pray with you if you need a prayer. That's something I never stand in the way for. Never. No way. I mean, there's a lot of unknowns, but one of the things that I do know that when someone wants or needs prayer, I'm not going to stand in the way. That's for sure. Okay. Now, I still would like for Ann Hester to call in and talk about her column last week. It's very interesting. Now, if you'll notice that there's a bunch of signs going up, not just in Knoxville, all around the Bible Belt, proclaiming that God doesn't exist. Now, now a lot of you may not believe the way I believe God is of spirit. Jesus, it was of flesh. I don't believe that God ever walked on this earth. Because like I say, God, the way I believe is God is of spirit, not of man. And but anyway, that's just a belief of mine, and that's the way it's said in the Bible. There's just a lot of stuff out there that a lot of us just read or interpret different, and I don't question any of them. My main belief is ever how you're brought up and how you're raised to believe, and you follow those raisins or beliefs, I believe your chances of getting to heaven is a lot better than people really believe and don't live up to what they believe in. If you know what I'm saying, you pretend to be something you're not, and you're more hypocrite than you are actual. I believe you've got a lot harder road to hold than a lot of other people. But anyway, so I'm not getting a response from Ann Hester, because I got a funny feeling that or I thought this would be a very controversial column of hers this week, and I know a lot of you do read her column, and I thought it would be a lot of people wanting to talk about it, but evidently I don't know whether there's that many people read it or didn't read it or whatever, but she's definitely questioning a lot of things. It says over the years, 8 versions of the Bible have been written, many books that were written when, and then it's cut off there, I can't. But anyway, they're almost melted down to just the 7 deadliest sins. Greed's one of them. Laziness. There you go. Here she is. You're on the air.
R.L.
Yes.
When you have a quiet time, sit down, read the column again. I was talking about scoundrels.
I read, but...
Okay, and what do scoundrels, and what's the and I started off with what is the definition of a scoundrel.
And whenever I read that, I read that into that you were kind of angry, and so many people in your own government here are scoundrels. I can't say the word, but
scoundrels.
Scoundrels. Yes. But that's the way I read it.
Right.
That you were.
But they're everywhere.
But you was definitely pointing out that right here in La Follette and in Campbell County.
Campbell County
is
Tennessee, but if you
is eat up with them.
Well, because if you see what a scoundrel does, and they don't tell the truth about everything. Like I say, you'll elect a president based on what they tell you want to hear, but not what you need to know. And there's a big difference. And just earlier you were talking about Mrs. Clinton, but it will never belong to her. Her presidency will never belong to her.
If she gets
It'll
elected,
always belong to her husband. You know that, and I know that.
why?
And because there's going to come the time when they're running, someone's going to stand up and ask her, well, what role is your husband going to play in your presidency? Because every time, if Hillary should make a good decision, which so far, if you look at her track record,
Well, now this was written before.
I knew she was going to announce and I wrote it before in a column a long time ago, that if she runs, she'll never own her presidency because of her husband, because people will think that he's going to be guiding her, he's going to be helping her. She lives most of the time in New York, he lives most of the time in Little Rock. But they're going to come together for this for whatever reason, because evidently, that's what's going to help it. But her presidency will never belong to her. You know that, and I know that.
I don't. I really don't.
Oh, I do. Because we will, everybody, just like you just said it on your program. One fellow said, I'd like to see Hillary because that means Bill's going to be there.
Well, I do. I think anytime you got...
Wait a minute. If Bill Clinton dropped dead tomorrow, then how would people feel?
I don't think it
does make a difference.
I don't think it... but we all, whenever we have people around us that can advise us, we're all better off for that. I think we got a lot of people out there that thinks they know it all, and they don't want to ask nobody nothing, and nothing they say will affect how they believe or feel.
The only way you can learn something is if you ask questions.
Right.
And then if you get an answer that you're not sure of, then you've got to study it yourself. Because the column was about scoundrels. What do scoundrels do? They've affected religion, politics, education, everything in American life. We have stories about all these pioneers and these cowboys. That's not the true history of who these people were. But we believe that. The Pledge of Allegiance, when the man wrote it, which I wrote in the column, did not put equality because he knew that the National Education Association at that time and politically did not want blacks nor women to have equality. And how long did it take for women to finally get that written in to some document? How long?
Oh, it was.
How long?
It was 1954, I believe it was.
Well, when then they changed and put under God, that was during the McCarthy era. But when it went on, when LBJ signed the Civil Rights legislation, one of the biggest sections of the Civil Rights legislation was giving full equality, voting, property ownership, and everything else to women.
Well, now, you say leaders of many religions have changed the structure of the Bibles for hundreds of years.
Yes, they have. All the churches have. I mean, after the Hebrew Bible, which was the Old Testament, all these books that they found, or all these books in the King James Version, they took out these books. Why? Why did they take them out?
And well, you write here why they take them out, to suit the leaders.
It didn't agree with what, if somebody in another book, there's the book of Judas, there's the book of James, there's the book of Thomas. The book of Thomas has more direct quotes from Jesus than any other portion of the Bible, but it was kept hidden for years and years and years by the Roman Catholic Church.
I have more faith in reading the red letters in the Bible than I do what somebody else wrote, because if you read every book and you try to study it, and I'm telling you, it's hard for me to study it, and it's hard for me to even think about reading it anymore.
Right.
But
and you have
there's so many things that actually
mean that it's wrong. It just means that, just like history, if the winning side wins and wrote the history, well, then they take out the things that may be detrimental to them. But those writings are there, so it doesn't mean that religion is wrong. It doesn't mean that the Bible is wrong. It doesn't mean that. It just means that many people, you look at these people with these multi-billion-dollar, not million, ministries.
Oh.
You look at this and do not tell me that these people intrinsically are not scoundrels.
Yeah, this one pastor down in Texas, they only had 7 planes, but they didn't have one big enough for him. Well, and he asked for it, and they.
That's right. You go back to Heritage USA, and that whole complex, and people were giving money to this thing, and these people, these so-called ministers, were subverting what it was about to put money in their pockets. You know, and then so we have to be careful about the people that we let lead us. We have to understand why they're leading us.
Okay.
And we don't do it because we don't think we're called. What's that one little paragraph I have in there? The women have had to bear original sin and all these things for all these years because of what happened in the Garden of Eden. Adam was created by God, first created. Adam could have not said no.
So basically you're saying that the woman, Eve, could not say no because she was created from Adam's rib.
Well, the woman was the temptress, and that's the way women have been painted. We're the temptress. You have to follow behind the man. You have to do the man's will. You can't do this. You can't own property. You can't do nothing. And a lot of the people have referenced that back to Adam and Eve because Eve tempted Adam to eat the fruit, forbidden fruit. I say to you, what was wrong with Adam's morality that he couldn't have said no? So why wasn't Adam scorned all these years?
Okay. Now you also
men were basically running the church. So some of these men did what they had to do to make women would always be subservient to the man.
Well, there's still a lot of churches in this area that will don't even want women to testify in church.
You can't testify. You can't. You're not called. You're not in it. You can't be any of that. But that's, like I say, if they believe that, truly believe it, okay. But we have to understand who did a lot of the writing, who changed, who did the interpretation.
Okay.
So that was all my whole thing about there's scoundrels, politicians are scoundrels. But we like the scoundrel. For some reason, we kind of say, as long as he doesn't do it to us, we like the scoundrel.
So the cooker they are, the better we like them.
But as long as they don't do it to us.
Okay. Appreciate your call. Thanks for calling in. You're on the air.
Ariel?
Yes, sir.
I got a couple questions. The county got a grant a while back to clean up those coal ovens at Iverdale.
Uh-huh.
Anything about that?
I don't know anything about it. I really don't.
Okay. They got a grant, well, it's in the paper that in La Follette, up in Iverdale. They cleaned them out once, but the scrubs back up again and said it's going to clean them out again. But nobody started on it, so I got another question. Main Street there in Jacksboro, from the red light on up past the new church, the bank,
right.
all the way up through there. It's not been paved.
You telling me it is rougher than a cob?
Yes, it is. It sure is, brother.
But now,
find out something about that.
I would say you need to go to the city meetings in Jacksboro because that's definitely not under the county roads department. So you'd have to get with them and get with the state.
I was told that the city and the county too, they paid from around the courthouse there all the way back up to the county and the city was together on that.
Well, but the roads, I mean, those parking lots, I guess that's a different story. But them roads, I don't know.
It's beautiful.
It is. Appreciate your call.
Okay, buddy. Yeah.
You're on the air.
Yes, in last week's Christian Journal, it told about they had voted to pave from the traffic light to the state road, which is 25W.
Right.
So it is going to be paved.
Well, it needs it, and like I say, it would fall under the city, but they may, it might be a state aid road, and the state may pay so much for it, and they have to put the finishing touches on it or something.
Right, but it was in the paper that at the meeting they approved it, so.
Well, it need to be.
Yeah, and also the pound out here.
Uh-huh.
They have had so many outbreaks of parvo, and that's the reason they have closed it until they get that straightened out.
Where at?
Out at the animal shelter.
Oh, okay. So, the animals are getting that kind of disease?
Right.
Oh, okay. Now, the reason why I'm asking so many questions, folks, my hearing aids is on the blink, but I'm supposed to get some Thursday, I think. So, but, and it's hard for me to understand a lot of words that's being said.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. Now, thanks. Yeah, I'm having to stick my nose into the phone here just to hear, and unless you've had a real bad hearing problem, words that you hear and you think you hear them one way, but they're really said another way or pronounced another way, and I guess down through the years, this problem I have with hearing and being able to distinguish between words and how they're pronounced and all this and that, it happened about 50 years ago when I was in the military, and just basically lost a large portion of my hearing. I turned you off. Give me a call back. We'll put you on. But now we've made it pretty good. We still don't run from it. As one guy told me one time, he said, I believe I would rather lose my sight than to lose my hearing. And I don't know. I really don't know what I'd want to do if I couldn't see. You're on the air. You're on the air. I hear you. Can you hear me?
Howdy.
Hello. Go ahead. Must have been a kid. I believe they've hung up. Give me a call. I'll talk to you about anything you want to talk about. We got the issue with Ann Hester's the scoundrels. I'll try to say it in a minute. But I understand what she's saying, but she went into pretty deep about abomination. That that actually women wearing slacks has committed an abomination, and there's 7, and I've mentioned that to you several times, different things that are abominations. You're on the air.
Hey.
Yeah.
As a good Democrat, I've heard you say that, the way the economy is structured right now, all the money is gravitating to the small minority of wealthy at the top, and our middle class and the rest of our society is being left behind economically, financially, labor-wise and everything. Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
What we need is not a communist form of government, but we need a restructuring of corporations. And I would like Frank Hester and Ariel Hansen and your other caller that never identifies himself. Your other callers that are real intelligent never identify themselves. Used to a man could open a gas station in the corner of his town and support a family real well.
Right.
A man could open a little corner grocery store and support his family real well. You know, we can't do that anymore. Now they're all owned by big corporations and chains.
Even the farms are owned by big corporations.
Exactly. Now, how do we, without instituting a communist form of government, which we don't want the government in control of all this, how do we break all this up and hand it back to the middle class?
Well, you know,
where they own the gas stations and the quick markets, where they own the restaurants, you know, no more big chains, no more Walmarts. You know, if Walmart wants to supply a local store, then let all the Walmarts be owned locally and run by local people. The same with Lowe's, the same with McDonald's, the same with all these, that they be owned and operated locally. You know, because, you know, a man can go out here and start a restaurant and he can't compete against these. You know, a big chain can put a restaurant in beside you and lose money until you go broke.
Absolutely. But now,
Walmart does that. They did that with all those grocery stores over there in Oneida.
Absolutely. There used to be 13 grocery stores in Scott County. Now there's only 2 besides, well, actually 3 besides Walmart.
Well, there you go. See, that's what's destroying the middle class. It ain't because we ain't got jobs. It's because we cannot start a business anymore. And these big corporations like Walmart, they have the money to buy your state legislature and set up all these rules and regulations where you cannot operate.
Walmart's the worst thing that's happened to our country in 100 years, probably. But let me tell you something. It's not necessarily the owners of Walmart. It's because it's a public stock. People that buys those stocks, they demand dividends. And so, let's just say that I owned 1,000 shares of Walmart, which I don't, but I bet you there's people right here in this county that probably owns thousands of stocks of Walmart. They want a return.
Well,
because the people that owns actually the family, do you know how many billions of dollars they've got?
Well, we need some kind of economic system to where it's not controlled by a handful of people, or 1/10 of 1% of the people.
Right.
And where the revenue don't gravitate to, you know, we need these service stations to return to the neighborhoods owned by somebody you knew. You went to school with their kids. You knew who they were. I used to know everybody that owned a service station in Scott County. I mean, you know.
I know most of them.
And all those little grocery stores. I remember when there were 3 grocery stores in downtown Norman.
Yes.
Run by families who supported their families with those stores.
Right.
You had the Penningtons, and then you had 2 across the hill from them.
The Sharps.
You had Sharp store there.
And the Vans.
And the Vans. And then there was, I think, 2 across the street from each other up there where you came out on 63 from Norman.
Yes. Hewitts and Rectors.
Yes. And they raised their family, supported their family with these stores. That's what America has to get back to. The middle class owning their own business. But right now, you can't go down here and buy, say, Big Creek Market down here on the corner. It's owned by a big corporation.
I agree with you.
And if you do own it, you live by their rules.
No question. In fact, about it, I went into a business, and they owned the business. And I asked them, was they interested in any advertising? And well, it was Subway. And they said, I can't advertise with you. I have to send my advertising money to them, and they advertise whatever they want to advertise.
They advertise nicely.
So, it's just the way it is. Appreciate your call, buddy.
Okay, well, think about that and see if we can come up with some new economic.
Well, we can't
hand everything back.
No matter how much influence we have, we can't change it.
Oh, well,
I'll tell you a story when I come back.
There's got to be a way to come up with a method.
Okay, I'll tell you a story here in a minute.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. We'll be back out of these words from our sponsors.
Stop by Heights Finance Corporation today and see Sandy List for all your financial needs. We're located in the Carl Pierce Furniture Building at 220 East Central Avenue in Eufaula, Tennessee. We offer loans from $500 to $100,000. Former bankruptcies are welcome, so give them a call. Call 563-6797. That's 563-6797. Or stop by their office 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Now with the full line of independent rear suspension options, the all-new Foreman Rubicon and Rancher automatic DCT models are equally ready to work and have fun. Part of the growing ATV family from Honda.
Hi, I'm Linda Kilgore. This is my 35th year with State Farm, my 25th year here in Campbell County. I'm not a high-pressure salesman. I like to just sit down with my customers and help them decide what's right for them. Thank you, and I hope to see you soon.
Riggs Drugs has been a part of Campbell County for generation after generation, serving our friends and neighbors. And now we have redesigned our store to better serve you. It's the same knowledgeable and friendly staff, but a new look and new technology to ensure you get your prescriptions fast. We've always got you covered from prescriptions to all your home health needs. We've always been more than a pharmacy, still offering a huge selection of gifts and decor here at the new and improved Riggs Drugs.
Are you missing out on extra Medicare benefits that you may be entitled to? Hi, my name is Blake McCoy with Independent Insurance Consultants. If you have Medicare A and B and have Medicaid, TennCare, Q&B, or receive extra help on your prescription, drug premium, and copays, I want to make sure that you are receiving all the extra benefits that you are entitled to. Call me toll-free today, 1-866-691-5571, and let me help you.
Okay, I'll tell you a story when we got back. This is the company that I work for, Levi Strauss and Company. In the mid to late 70s, they decided to go from a private company to a public company. And when the stock went on the market, it went on the market at $42. And nothing flat, that stock dropped to $12. And it started moving back up. Well, Levi Strauss decided that we're talking about the heads, the ones that had the money. They decided they didn't like the way that the stockholders was trying to run their business and telling them what to do. So they bought all the stock back and actually paid. The people that had bought it for $42 still made money. They paid it, bought it back like at $60 or something. I can't remember exactly what it was. But they bought all the stock back, and only the upper management could buy more than let's just say that people, just basic laborers might be able to buy 4 or 5, 10% of their pay is the largest amount they could buy. Well, if you was in upper management, you could buy 20% or whatever. And then ever so often, like myself or somebody, they would give me additional stock. Is according how the company was doing that year. But they bought it back. And whenever I left there, it was still private. I'd say it's still private. And every stock that I had, if they give to me, and the ones that I had bought too, they paid me $270 a share when I retired. Because they're saying, I'm not making the rest of the world wealthy off of us. We're going to buy it. We got the money, and we're going to take care of our own. And whenever one of the head people, the president of the company, died, he gave all his money back to the employees. Every employee got a check. Levi Strauss is a pretty good company to work for in the beginning, but at the end it got hard because they just had to go overseas to compete. You're on the air.
Buddy, well, first of all, I just caught the tail end of this right here, so you can definitely afford to take me out to dinner or two then, so I won't feel guilty of saying.
No, I can't afford nothing.
Let me tell you what I just real quick here. I don't even know what you've been talking about all night. I've been just out walking the dogs and everything, getting ready for my show to come on. So I just taking my time, made me a sandwich when I got done, got them in. I said, well, I've got about 10 minutes before it starts now. I said, I'm going in here to watch the show, you know. And just casually turned it on there at 9 o'clock. And what in the world I was thinking, I sat here and now I'm so mad I can't hardly stand it. I won't be able to sleep tonight.
We've had some great discussions.
Don't tell me that. I hope you ain't had a call one. I hope you've had to sit there and just talk to your...
I've not went 1 minute without a call.
You are kidding me. Has it been good?
Well, it's been pretty good.
I'll be daggone. I said, Mike, no, and I told my wife, I said, I cannot believe of all the times out of the 7 days this week, I have to get my times confused. The only show that I watch, I'm in here every night at 8 o'clock waiting for a TV show to come on. And why I was thinking that 9 to 11 is beyond me, but I mean, like I said, I just took the dogs and went for...
Well, you enjoyed it, and the time passed by fast. And...
Oh, my... Yeah, but I was sitting here from 6 o'clock waiting on, and I said, well, I'll go at 8 o'clock is when I left with the dogs. For a 30-minute stroll around the neighborhood.
Oh.
He come in, turned it on. I said, man, why's all these commercials already? I said, usually he's on, but now, I'm thinking, and then you start telling that story, and I looked down at that clock, and I was like, I cannot believe this, and I've sat here and done that. So, what's been going? Fill me in real quick.
Okay. Well, we've been talking about, Jerry had sent me, I'm talking about Hazel Valley, an email, and I thought he had turned communist because he said that the Democrats are so dumb and the Republicans, they're smart because of their IQs is a lot better, but there's another group above them that's got a higher IQ, and it was just going on. Then scoundrels, Ann Hesser, huh?
Have you had her going too?
Oh yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
And basically, she's saying that all the politicians in Campbell County are crooks. And she actually got into the Bible explaining how they were crooks.
Shit, I told you long ago, if we all go by that, there ain't gonna be 7 people in heaven, the rest of us gonna be elbow to elbow, you know that, so I mean, well, that, but we're in trouble, so.
But it's.
Yeah, I do apologize, I wanted you to know I apologize for this first half of your show, and I'll probably be up all night, so 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you wanna talk to somebody, just call me, I'm sure I'll be up, I'll be aggravated. But I hope I'm right.
And we also been talking about Hillary.
Yeah, buddy, what about that? Just slick as a whistle. I was watching some on the news, you know, and they caught her in a coffee shop or someplace in Ohio today, and said she was just going across the country just doing social media type thing so she gets to Iowa.
Well, I heard, you know Halloran Hill?
Yes, sir.
You listen to him some, I guess.
Yeah.
He said today that he said that Hillary would definitely not get the nomination, and he goes through and explains things, and right at the end he said for the Republican Party.
Yeah, right, for the Republican Party. Well, it's going to be her and Jim. I listen to one talk show. I get that Sirius Radio, and you've got about 700 talk shows on there, so a lot of times if you see me out somewhere and I'm just sitting in the car for hours on end, you'll know why. I'm not crazy. I just sit there and laugh and cut up.
Well, I tell you what, you won't believe this. There's a lot of times, just like today, I didn't have to leave the house at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. I left the house at around 2 o'clock today, and this so I could get out and sit and listen to the radio, because I don't listen to the radio at the house.
Well, I'm the same way. I am the same way. I get up and go for a ride, you know.
Well, I'll ride or somewhere, and my father is buried at the Campbell Gardens down there, and some people think I'm crazy, but I stop by Dad's grave every once in a while and talk to him. He's been down since '99.
Baby, I do the same thing with my mother, so I know exactly what you're talking about since 2000. And I go quite often, and it helps me in a lot of ways. So, and it don't matter what other people think, it's what you think. So that's, you know, the gist of that, because I do, and, you know, whether it does or they can hear, or I don't know, but it helps me, you know.
Yeah. Well, I was a lucky one in a way. My dad, I never did have a dad who wasn't around me until I was 30. I believe I was 36 whenever really was around Dad quite a bit. He got real sick and had to retire, and he come back to Tennessee from Ohio. And but anyway, I loved him to death. And he's the most understanding man I've ever seen, in a way, 'cause no matter what kind of music was playing, Dad never did say nothing to the kids of what kind of music they was listening to. And me, that grandbaby of mine, to turn on that rap and drive me nuts. I'm gonna throw him out of the car.
I know what you mean sometimes. Well, I just didn't want you to think I wasn't listening to you.
Okay, appreciate it.
But just real quick here, did McQuarrie County get their computer fixed?
No.
No. And it won't be this Sunday, it won't be...
They say it will, but they've told me that for 5 straight weeks.
Right, well... Are they from Campbell County? Somebody from here working on it?
No.
I'll try it again Sunday.
Well, I do believe that what happened, see, those computers, when we started back in 1994, some of those computers were still 1994s. So the guys tried to start working on them and trying to interface with different things and this and that, and he finally gave up. So he said, well, you guys have got to buy some new computers.
Right. A little outdated.
And so the business stands by itself. It either earns enough money to keep going, or we shut her down.
Right, I understand. I totally do. But I sure would like to. I hope y'all get it up and going and everything.
Well, it's supposed to be. The only thing that they needed to last night was just that card to be able to interface, and they said they would have it today, but God only knows.
Right. Well, I'll definitely try to tune you in Sunday, and I hope you have a good rest of the show and a safe drive home. I just didn't want you to think I died.
Oh, okay. I appreciate your call.
Okay.
Okay.
See you.
Thank you. Okay. Now, I did have, and believe it or not, I had more support in Scott County for Cruz than I did anybody except Hillary. Now, Hillary, you know, those people that knows that I'm basically more in favor of the Democrats than I am the Republicans, and I do vote some Republicans, and before you believe it or not, I really do. But I couldn't believe that anyone would vote for Cruz. That guy, I had a call here one time and saying we don't need nothing here. We've got plenty of churches for the kids. That's all they need to do is be in church. Well, it's not all for the same thing. You're on the air.
I can't speak to
Speak to who?
Ariel.
This is he.
Oh. Hey, Ariel.
Uh-huh.
Did they ever find that boy that's missing over there?
That man?
Yeah, 27-year-old.
Oh. Honest to God, I didn't know that we had a 27-year. I know we had, we got a woman and we got a man, and I thought he was more in the, like a 50-year-old.
No, they told that this afternoon on the news.
Oh, okay then. Well, I ain't had the news on. In fact, I've been gone for a week. I've been on vacation.
Yeah.
My little grandson was on spring break, and I hadn't been watching TV other than trying to watch a little bit of that golf tournament and baseball. But as far as watching the news or anything, I haven't been into it. We just got home last night for me to do my show. So,
yeah.
But
it's on the news this afternoon. He said Campbell County, but it was Jellicoe or something. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Okay. If anybody knows anything about it, they give us a call. We'll put it on the air. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye. You're on the air.
Hey, Ariel.
Yes.
Now, tell me, you would rather have a Canadian for President of the United States as a Kenyan?
You know, I'm going to tell you this, and I really, really, truly, I really believe that Obama has done a much better job of getting jobs. There's more people working. The gas prices has dropped almost in half.
Ariel, he ain't got a thing to do with them gas prices. You know that.
Well, well, the thing about it, they have though. But what I'm saying,
you worked in an American corporation. Did the President of the United States dictate the price of your blue?
I want to ask you, and tell me honest, what has Obama done that's any worse than any of our other presidents?
I would like for him to disclose his public record.
I don't care about his public record.
You know, he got elected president. He's a citizen of Indonesia, born in Kenya. Now, you tell me that electing a Canadian wouldn't be a little better?
Well, Cruz is from, he said he was born in Canada.
He was born in Canada. Wouldn't that be better? At least
anyone that kind of
it's next to the United States.
Anyone that's got the kind of beliefs that he's got, I don't care if they was born in Campbell County or Scott County, I wouldn't vote for it. If he was my neighbor, I wouldn't vote for him.
I'm just saying, I think we'd be better off with a Canadian than we are with a Kenyan. And yes, Obama's been the worst president in the history of the United States.
How?
Absolutely, totally the worst. Look at the Middle East is falling apart.
Well, that Middle East are falling apart my foot. Listen, was George Bush the president when was first George when we went to Iraq? Was George Bush the president when we went to Afghanistan and stayed in Iraq?
We're not talking comparative presidents here. We're talking about Obama.
Well, wait a minute. Why is Obama no, he just carrying out what's been going on with him. Who else has he went to war with?
Look, 2 weeks ago, we crossed the 100 million mark of Americans not working. 18 and over not working. That is worse than FDR had in the 1930s. We are in a worse depression right now. The only reason...
Well, the only reason people's not working because they're too lazy. They won't go to work.
Well,
I mean, honest. There's everybody is advertising for.
Go to work for $7.25 an hour.
Well, who's stopping Obama?
If you get more than that for nothing from your government.
Well, Obama tried his best for 3 years now to get them to do something, at least start raising the minimum wage, and then Republicans stop it.
Minimum wage ain't got nothing to do with people being out of work, RL.
Well, wait.
In fact, every time the minimum wage gets raised, people are laid off.
No. Right now, honest. Where's?
Look.
Let me tell you something other.
This started with Reagan. It got worse under Herbert. It even got worse under Bill Clinton. And George W. made it even worse with these free trade agreements that moved all of our plants overseas. And it's not just